Hello and welcome to Peggy's Plants, coming to you from Central Florida. One thing I've been kind of dissatisfied with in my front yard is the lack of a focal point. I planted this white bird of paradise hoping that it would give me what I was looking for. I put a spotlight on it, it's grown, but it's still not giving me what I'm looking for. With the help of my sponsor, Vego, I was able to totally transform this area, and it was relatively easy. I was able to take some bromeliads and orchids from my yard, along with this Vego Cascading metal raised garden bed, and make a beautiful bromeliad garden and much needed focal point. And the only plants I used were plants that were already in my yard. These metal garden beds are usually used for vegetable gardens, but I couldn't think of a better way to add height to my landscaping and decided to use it as a bromeliad garden. It was very easy to assemble and took me about 45 minutes. I then put some weed barrier under the planter as well as around it. Now, if you're going to use plants that have long roots, you don't want to put weed barrier under this plant bed, but bromeliads don't have deep roots, so that's not a concern. I'm going with the inspiration as it hits me, so now I'm going to go around my yard and find out what plants I can use for this project. I do have an area over here where I had planted some plants previously, and it just kept getting overgrown with vines, which became a problem for my landscapers as well as me trying to maintain this area. Raccoons kept coming over here and knocking my pots over. So yeah, I want to kind of sod this area as much as possible and use as many plants from over here as I can in this project. With help from my guy, we were able to make quick work of clearing up this area and digging up plants. Turns out I'm going to have quite a few things that I can use. We were able to dig up some cordylines and plant them in the back of the bed on either side of the bird of paradise, which gave some nice color. And with just that, the area looks so much better already. I'm so excited about this project. I'm definitely going to be using these bromeliads, at least some of them. I don't know about this little stool or riser or the plants in the pot, but I'm definitely going to be using the pots over here. So still just trying to figure things out as we go, but I'm really happy with the results so far. So let's keep going. I have two large jungle cacti that have been in the front yard doing quite well and blooming and all of that, so I decided to bring them over as well. And although I was getting overly excited about bringing as many plants over here to see how they would look and try to figure out where I would put them, I decided it's time to go ahead and fill the raised planter bed. I can't tell you exactly how much soil I needed to fill this cascading bed, because some of it came from a raised bed I have in my backyard. But it took quite a bit of soil. The back of this raised bed is 36 inches tall, so it holds quite a bit. So using this bed for plants that have extensive root systems would be no problem. And this is what the plant bed looked like once it was filled. Now comes the really fun part. I gathered a lot of plants around the yard. I found all the bromeliads that didn't really have a permanent home, and I am ready to situate them in this bed. I brought most of these bromeliads with me when I moved from the Florida Keys, so I've had them for quite some time, and they just really have not been displayed properly. I love bromeliads. They're easy to grow. They use their roots only to attach. So the nice thing about them is if you live in a colder climate and you want to have a bromeliad garden, you can easily put them in a bed like this during the warmer months, and then in the winter just pull them, set them in pots, keep them indoors, keep them warm, and then they'll be ready to go back out when your temperatures are warmer again. This big bundle of bromeliads actually all started with one bromeliad. It has given me so many pups, and I think it has earned the top spot in this planter. So I'm cleaning it up some, just removing the dead leaves. Once bromeliads pup, they die off. They kind of replace themselves before they go. And the good thing about them is once you have a bromeliad, it will keep pupping and give you so many that you really don't have to go out and buy more of that particular bromeliad. And now she's looking much better. I chose green in this raised bed planter because I felt like it would blend better with my yard. And it does come in several colors. So, work with it, whatever works for you and what you have in mind. Next, I went over here. I wanted some bromeliads of different colors. So I saw these green and white ones over here. So I decided to pull some of these up. And these were I only had like a couple of these as well. And as you see, they kind of do like shoot off runners, and you just pull it up, stick that in the ground. And I mean, it's not like you're planting it because, like I said, they don't use their roots to take in water or anything like that. They get their water in the cone in the middle, and that's where they get their nutrients as well. So it just uses the roots to hold on. So I think these will provide some nice contrast against the other bromeliad. Oh my goodness, look at that top tier. I am loving this. The height is everything. Now I'll start filling in the bottom tier. What I love about this is I'm not going to have to worry about weeding or vines taking over the plants like in the other area. That's been a big problem for me. So I'm just tucking in bromeliads and trying to balance the color, and just filling in the area and making sure it's something that it's aesthetically pleasing to me. And I'm also tucking some orchids in there. I have a lot of orchids in my front yard. Look at this so far. Oh my goodness, I love this. I am so happy to have my bromeliads prominently displayed, looking really beautiful once again. It's been a long time since I've had a nice bromeliad garden. Oh, and it's been so easy. This has been so easy. And I'm a firm believer in taking care of the small details. So I've had some black rubber mulch that I found at a discount store. And so I'm going to use this around the plant bed. The black will make the colors pop in contrast, as well as my house has some black in the trim, so it'll coordinate nicely. As you can see over here, this area has definitely thinned out quite a bit, but look at this pile of pavers over here. I'm thinking I'll take these pavers and give myself a border around my garden. It's like once you get started, hey, I get carried away with it. So I think it needs a nice barrier between the grass and the garden. Look at this. So I'm just going around kind of leveling things and popping them in there. I know I'll probably have to come back and pressure wash or whatever, but here is my final product. Look at this. I got the fish statue from over by the tree. I already had that. All of these pots I had, all of these plants I already had the pavers, already had the mulch and the bromeliads. So I definitely feel like I have a nice focal point in my front yard now. Lots of contrast and color. That's one thing I love about bromeliads, is they are not, the color that they give you is not dependent on blooms or anything like that. Although when they do bloom, it's just like bonus color. But I am really loving the way this turned out. And it was just as easy as having this cascading bed. Now, if I didn't have this bed with the two levels, it would just be a flat garden, which is nice, but I really feel like I needed some height. And there you see some orchids. Yeah, I'm going to love when the orchids are in bloom over here, and the colors with the pops of colors from the bromeliads and the blue pots and the subtle green of the garden bed. So thank you so much, Vego Garden, for sponsoring this video and providing me with this cascading garden bed. I think this is definitely my favorite project that I have done since I have been here at this house, and it has definitely set the tone for my front yard. And I do now have a very nice looking focal point in the front that I can be proud of. So there's a link in the description box so that you can check out these planter beds. They have a large variety to choose from. And use the discount code Peggy's Plants 10 off for $10 off of your purchase. All of this information will be in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Thank you so much for watching. Stay well, take care, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Bye-bye.